Did you know that countless eligible voters in Alaska risk missing out on critical local and state elections simply because their voter registration status is outdated? Seriously, you definitely don't want to be one of them. Let's dive right into this explainer and make absolutely sure you're totally prepared for the next Alaska election. Whether you're a brand new resident or a lifelong Alaskan, navigating the state's unique voting systems can sometimes feel a bit like a maze. But today, we're going to make it incredibly simple. Let's talk about the number 30, because that's a huge deal in Alaska. The 30-day registration deadline before an election is a strict, hard and fast calendar rule. And when I say strict, I mean literally absolutely no weekend rollovers. If that 30-day cutoff happens to land on a Sunday, the deadline does not magically extend to Monday. You have to be registered or have your application postmarked exactly 30 days prior, no exceptions. Okay, so here's our roadmap for this explainer. We'll hit why your status matters, Alaska's unique rules, how to actually do a step-by-step check, fixing common glitches, updating your info, and finally, how to stay registered and completely ready to go. All right, let's kick things off with Section 1, why your status matters and the real stakes of voting. So here's the kicker. If you miss that strict 30-day cutoff we just talked about, the voting doors don't slam shut completely, but they definitely close on your local impact. If you register late, Alaska law says you are completely locked out of voting in state, local, and municipal races. You're restricted to voting in the presidential and vice presidential race only. And since local elections are usually what impact our day-to-day lives the absolute most, staying on top of your status is paramount.
Moving right along to Section 2, Alaska's unique registration rules and some systemic quirks you really need to know about.
So Alaska actually has this brilliant setup where just applying for your permanent fund dividend, your PFD, automatically registers you to vote, unless you actively opt out within 30 days. It's awesome for maximizing registration. But there's a catch. Because of this automatic enrollment, combined with Alaska's highly transient workforce and massive military presence, folks move around a lot. And due to state and federal list maintenance laws, it can literally take up to 8 years for an inactive voter to be removed off the rolls. This means your address could be totally outdated in the system without you even realizing it.
And this brings us to a super common pitfall, especially out in rural Alaska. Your physical residence, where your house actually sits, which might just be described as 3 miles east of the air terminal, and your mailing city, where you actually receive your mail, well, they might be completely different. When you go to check your status online, the system is going to ask for your mailing city, not your physical village or township. Knowing the difference between the two is an absolute game changer.
All right, Section 3, the step-by-step status check using digital tools. So Alaska uses a dual portal system. Honestly, understanding the difference between simply checking your status and actually updating your status is going to save you a massive headache. The My Voter portal is just a quick, low-friction lookup tool to see if you're active. But the Online Voter Registration System, or OVR, that's the high-security portal used to actually change your data, and that requires deep validation right against your DMV records.
Checking your status on the My Voter portal is incredibly simple. You just head over to myvoterportal.alaska.gov. But, and this is a big but, you must use the exact spelling of your first and last name and the exact mailing city that was on your original application. So, if you've got a hyphenated name or use a specific P.O. Box routing city, make sure you punch it in exactly as the state has it.
Which leads us to Section 4, fixing common registration issues and troubleshooting errors.
First off, if your search fails, do not panic. Most of the time, these errors are just systemic quirks. We're talking a minor spelling mismatch or, like we just covered, mixing up your physical village name with your postal routing city. It could also just mean you've been administratively inactivated because some mail they sent you bounced back as undeliverable.
Take a look at this quote straight from the Division of Elections. It highlights something absolutely crucial. The burden is completely on you. The state won't just assume you moved and take you off the active list, and they definitely won't magically update your new address if you move across the state. Basically, if you pack up and move, it's 100% your responsibility to proactively step up and update your record.
Let's move into Section 5, updating your voter information and fixing your record.
Okay, so remember that dual portal concept we talked about earlier? If you need to update your info, you go to voterregistration.alaska.gov. This is that high-security OVR system. To get in, your identity is strictly validated against your DMV records. That means your name, date of birth, driver's license number, and the last 4 digits of your social security number, they have to match perfectly. You also have to explicitly say yes to let the Division of Elections use the electronic signature they already have on file for you at the DMV. Now, what if you don't happen to have a state ID, or your online validation just keeps failing for some reason? Don't worry, you aren't out of luck. You can always just download, print out, and mail a paper voter registration application directly to your regional office. You can even fax it, email a scanned copy, or literally just walk right into a regional division of elections office, a DMV, or participating public library to register in person.
Almost at the finish line. Section 6. Staying registered and ready to protect your vote.
Listen, this part is incredibly important. If you ever show up to the polls and there's a registration issue, maybe your name isn't on the precinct register, or your address is wrong, or hey, you just forgot your ID, never ever just turn around and walk away. Ask the poll worker for a questioned ballot. This is literally your ultimate statutory safety net. You'll just fill out your ballot, pop it in a special envelope with a declaration, and a review board will check your eligibility after Election Day to make sure your legal vote is officially counted.
You might want to grab a screenshot right now because these are your core takeaways. Check your status early, update your address the very second you move, and never ever forget that unforgiving 30-day deadline. And just a quick disclaimer to wrap things up, electoral laws and administrative procedures can definitely change over time. So always use this explainer as your foundational guide, but make absolutely sure to verify the most current rules and deadlines directly on the official Alaska Division of Elections website.
So before you do absolutely anything else today, I want you to ask yourself this one question. Are you 100% sure the mailing city on your current record is perfectly accurate? Don't leave your democratic voice to chance over a silly typo or a zip code mix-up. Head over to the My Voter portal right now. Because honestly, when local elections can be decided by just a handful of votes, can you really afford to let a paperwork error silence yours?